Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I am filming a quick Ask a Witch, and the question that I've been asked is one that really deserves a long historical research video, which it may or may not get. I was asked if I believe it is part of a witch's traditional duties to provide abortion. And oof, that's a complicated one to answer. To start with in my answer, I want to acknowledge that there is an enormous amount of historical evidence to support that wise wives and midwives and sage femmes and all these different terms that people were called who practiced traditional herbalism, traditional healing, who were providing gynecological and reproductive services to their communities, were accused of witchcraft. Absolutely. There is a huge amount of evidence, and I will eventually be posting sort of a subset of a class that I'm teaching. I'm teaching a 3 to 4 month long intensive class on the history and traditional use of herbal emmenagogues, abortifacients, and contraceptives. I will link to the class in the comments below. We requested a donation for attending, but it was absolutely a sliding scale. If you can't afford to give, then don't. And all the classes that have happened so far that people haven't been able to attend, if people haven't been able to attend them in person, they have been recorded. They went up on our learning management system on the seminary website, along with all of the assignments and all of the documents. So if you want the really in-depth class that goes into the history on this topic, it exists. And I will film a small subset going into specifically how midwives, wise wives, sage femmes, etc. were accused of being witches. And that one of the reasons that they were accused was because they potentially gave herbal abortions. That one of the reasons that people said you're a witch is because they protected the reproductive rights of those around them, because they supported them in that fashion. They supported their right to bodily autonomy by assisting them in either preventing an unwanted pregnancy or in terminating an unwanted pregnancy. So were people who provided that service accused of being witches? Yes. Does that mean that they were witches? That's a lot more complex. Any intel extracted under duress is not actionable intel. If you have tortured someone, they will tell you anything to make it stop. So if you're saying to this wise wife who's provided herbal abortions, admit to being a witch, admit to being a witch, while you're torturing this wise wife, then yeah, probably they're going to say, I'm a witch, please stop hurting me. Does that mean that they're a witch? No, it doesn't. Do I think that all of the midwives and wise wives and sage femmes who were accused of being witches were witches? No, absolutely not. I think in many cases they were someone from an oppressed or marginalized minority, someone who was making money that the white men of the church wanted for themselves, someone who was supporting reproductive rights when they didn't want those rights to be recognized and supported. You know, I think there's all kinds of reasons why someone is accused of being a witch who isn't a witch. Do I think that none of them were witches? No, I don't. One of the reasons for that is that one of the groups that was targeted by the Inquisition and accused of being witches, the Benandanti, claimed that they were good witches. They were do-gooders who were helping their communities, and they were targeted anyway, and the Inquisition set out to eradicate them. So there were definitely people who were very proudly witches, and they were targeted. So do I think that all of the midwives were not witches? That's a tortured sentence, but I think that you understand what I mean. No, that's not the case. I think that some of them likely were. I just don't think that the vast majority of them were. But then the question comes, all right, so do you think that it is part of the duties and responsibilities of a witch to provide abortion? No. No, I don't. I think it is part of the duties and responsibilities of a witch to act as an adversary when power hurts the powerless. I think that when you look at the historical role of the witch, not the priest, not the priestess, not the member of the dominant dogmatic religion of the time that is practicing magic that is supported by the social structure, supported by the government, that is permissible, but the person who gets called a witch, who is an adversary to that system, I think that it is an obligation of the witch to stand up against the powerful on behalf of the powerless. How you do that, I think, is up to you. Maybe that will mean providing abortions. I hope, I really hope that if anybody is out there breaking the law and providing herbal abortions for those in states that they can't legally provide them in, that they are doing so carefully. So carefully on a number of levels, whether that's with InfoSec or whether that is with, accurate, safer, saner, risk-aware herbalism that is not based on the rampant misinformation that I see online. If that's how they're choosing to stand up against the powerful on behalf of the powerless, then of course I would tell them not to break the law. But boy, that's a complicated topic, isn't it? Because the law is not always ethical. The law is not always just. The law is not always moral. Slavery was legal. Opposing slavery and helping escaped slaves get away was illegal. The Holocaust was legal. Sneaking people across borders, hiding them in your attics, hiding them in your basement was illegal. And I can't legally tell you to go do something illegal, but I can tell you that what is legal is not always right. And that I do believe that it is the obligation of someone who calls themselves a witch to understand that that's a political statement and to go fight for the powerless. How you do that is going to vary by person, is going to vary by their personal ethics, by what they stand to lose. There's a lot of variance. A witch is a witch who cares to claim the title of witch. So no, I don't necessarily feel like it is one of the duties or obligations of a witch to provide an abortion. Nor do I think that all the people who provided abortions and who were accused of being witches were actually witches. But I think that reproductive rights for 51% of the population of the earth have been systematically violated for centuries. And that if we're calling ourselves witches and we're saying we are adversaries who fight against the structures of power that keep people in cages, then one of the very first things that we should be supporting vehemently, wholeheartedly, is bodily autonomy. And that extends further than just supporting the reproductive rights of people who were born with a uterus. That's opposing modern-day slavery, which is rampant in the United States, because that's a violation of bodily autonomy. That's opposing the involuntary sterilization of people of color, which is a massive problem that our country still hasn't confronted, how often they've done that. That's opposing the fact that the leading cause of death during pregnancy in this country is homicide. The leading reason why people who are pregnant die in this country is homicide, and most of that is due to intimate and romantic partner violence against them. So you want to talk about things to oppose, the rampant misogynistic, violent culture that we live in that is causing that to be such an issue. Or, we can oppose the fact that Black persons die in childbirth more than white persons because our medical system is so racist. So if you don't want to provide abortions, cool, maybe help someone go get one from a licensed, skilled practitioner by contributing to one of the funds that will get them across a border. That would be a lot safer than providing an unsafe herbal abortion. And you can proudly say, yeah, I acted as a witch today. I opposed the powerful by helping this person get access to what they needed. You don't have to provide the abortion yourself, and don't provide the abortion yourself. There are safer, saner, legal ways to get people access to that. I know that I'm digressing, so I'm not entirely sure what else there is to say other than, no, I don't think that it is one of the duties of a witch to provide abortion. I do think it is a duty of a witch to act as an adversary against that which deserves being opposed. Right. If you have a question for Ask a Witch, you can post it in the comments below. You can mail it to us at staff@sanctumofthecraft.org. You can join the Discord and ask us there. There's a whole chat area called Ask a Witch. There's lots of ways to get your question to us. We will try to get to them as fast as possible. Please remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Hopefully a friendly one. Be safe out there, everyone.